Welcome back, this is Crimson, and today we are going to be going over the Earth Precon deck that is on Tabletop Simulator. Start with the avatar here. So, 20 health, 1 attack, pretty basic for most of those starter avatars. Tap, player, draw a sight. Its special ability is you gain +1 attack power for each nearby Earth site. Is a very good avatar for the defense and does allow a little bit of pushing into your own territories where you'll have more earth sites around it. Yeah, this is a very good avatar. Now, unlike wind or water, which has a lot of mobility, this one is more about the defense, which makes sense. It's earth. Very good avatar. Okay, we'll move into the sites. Now, this Precon does not come with a unique site. So, let's just go through what we do have. We have Rift Valley, an exceptional site, 2 Threshold Genesis, slide a surrounding site into an adjacent void. Now, this is quite interesting little card. I really like this. This will allow you to disrupt a lot of your opponent's setting up that they want to do on sites. And a lot of control decks are going to be very focused on having a set line of sites. Even a control earth deck is going to be using stuff like Great Walls and maybe like a control earth air, which would use bottomless pits, Great Walls, the one where you can only have 1 ground unit on it. So yeah, this is going to be a very popular card. You're going to see this card a lot in more constructed play. Okay, the Hills, another exceptional site. Ranged avatars and minions have +1 range. I don't know if we've seen any avatars that have range, but I'm sure eventually we will. For now, this mainly just says minions have +1 range if they already have range. Now, this will not give range to a minion that doesn't have range. That's very important to note. But honestly, this is a really good card. So you have this here, and you have your longbow on it, which has range 1. Now it has range 2, so it can hit here or here. Same thing like here. You can hit all the way into their back row. This is a very good location, especially in the humans deck that I expect we will be seeing people play a lot. I really expect to see a earth, wind, humans, or mortal deck come out as one of the first kind of like major decks that we'll see. Eventually we will see a lot more control decks. We'll probably see decks that are like Brian Wiseman's The deck, where it's very much a control and maybe you have 1 or 2 win cons in the whole deck. I expect to see that kind of stuff in the beginning. That just comes from experience with card games in general. Usually the first sets have a lot of overpowered cards in it. Because they don't know, unfortunately, you start with some very, it's just the nature of card games. Usually the first set is usually one of the stronger sets. Then power dips down, starts dipping down, and then as the game starts to wane, you get a big boost of power. We've seen this with Magic. The first couple sets were pretty powerful, the 4 Horsemen. And then starts to dip down with Fallen Empires, Ice Age 4th Edition, And then we saw a rather large increase with Tempest into um, um, Arcadian Masks and Urza Saga era. So yeah, like that's kind of what I expect we'll see in the first 5 years of this game too. It's pretty normal. It's just the nature of things. All right, let's take a look at Holy Ground. Coming into play effect, nearby allied avatars and minions gain +1 power until end turn. Again, this is a pretty strong card. Think of this as a land that is also a spell that doesn't cost anything. What you will see this with is a lot with your mortal decks, and also combined with your villages. Yeah, this is going to be played. Okay, Secret Tunnel. Exceptional sight, so you can have 3 of them in the deck. Your minions that unburrow may do so here. This is a really strong burrowing component. If you do end up making burrowing style deck, this you're gonna want to run a playset of this. It was a very good mobility location. Quagmire. Exceptional sight. Genesis, nearby ground minion not move or attack until the start of your next turn. So, there's 2 ways to look at this. This can be if you have a lot of ranged or splash or spells, this is a great way to lock down some units for a turn and then start pinking them off. It also works really well with some other cards that have ranged. Or you can think of it more as a control style element where you're kind of cutting off a path. I like this card. I think it's a very good card, and we should see a lot more of it. So the villages are first base resource, their basic land. They have a coming into play effect, summon a 1 power foot soldier token. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about is I think these are really good. I do not understand why these create a 1 power foot soldier token, and they're common, and you can have 12 of them in the deck. And the tadpole, which is a unique, you can only have 1 in the deck, summons 0 power frogs. I'm sorry, the tadpole pool sucks. It's bad at 0 power. Sure, you could use it strictly in defensive, but again, 0 power on a unique, or these you're getting a huge amount of. Now, granted, I understand 1 tadpole gives you 3, 1 village gives you 1, but you can have 12 villages in your deck. You can only have 1 tadpole deck. I really wish they'd revert the tadpole back to 1 power on the tadpoles, on the frogs. I think at 0 power, it's not a useless sight, but it is a very weak sight for a unique. Yeah, I like the villages. The villages are great. Alright, so let's look at King of the Realm. 7 costs, 2 threshold, 4 attack. A unique mortal. All other mortals get +2 power. You control all mortals in the realm. Okay. This card is going to be a valuable card. Now, granted, with the number of Precon boxes being bought on the Kickstarter, there's obviously going to be a good amount of these out. But if you end up pulling Kickstarter foil one, I would probably get it. I think this is going to be one of the more valuable cards in that. There's a couple reasons why. First off, I believe humans is going to be the first predominant set. Second, this counters other human decks. Especially if like you kill their King of the Realm and you get yours out, they're pretty screwed. 2 plus 2 power is huge, and it's not adjacent minions, it's not nearby minions, it's all other mortals gain plus 2 power. This is massive amount of power on this card. The other important thing on this one is it does have 4 power, which means you're going to be able to avoid a lot of the 3 damage kill spells. This is a very strong card. Yes, I know it costs 7, but that's okay. With Earth, you are trying to get as many villages out as you can. Therefore, you do end up playing, getting to your 7s and your 8s a little bit more than other players. There's also some ramp with Earth that we'll see in a little bit that will also help getting these higher cost units out. This card is, it is, in my opinion, it is going to be, top 10 in at least in the beginning. The other thing is this card just gets better with age. Each set that comes out, there will be more mortals. This card just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. I am definitely going to get a position on this card. I think this card is just, again, speculation because we haven't seen all the cards in the set. But I truly believe that this card is going to be a very sought after and valuable card. The power level on this card is insane if it stays as it is. Now, I could see that it maybe changes to +1 power. I could also see that it changes to you control all mortals in the realm until end of turn type thing. But as it stands right now, this card, extreme power. Okay, Midland Army. 8 for threshold, 8 power. This army must be summoned to any of the 2 middle sites. That'd be these 2 sites. That'd be 8 and 13. It can carry out ranged attacks on enemies on any site in the realm. That is sick. Now, technically this card doesn't have range, so although you wouldn't need it, but this is ranged minions. Technically this doesn't have the keyword range, but when it attacks, it carries out its attacks as they are ranged attacks. If you're going by straight, wording, keywording, facts, but that may or may not change. This is 8 power. That's an insane amount of power to be able to hit anything on the board, including their avatar or undefended sites. This card's huge. I wouldn't run I wouldn't run this in every Earth deck, but in a humans deck, yeah, I'm running the one. It's a very strong card, especially if you can protect it. Oh, the Titan. It's 6/3 threshold for 6 power. Coming into play effect, this Titan deals 6 splash damage on the site directly in front of it. This is a very good card. Damage to cost ratio is, basic, so which is even. But it also has a coming into play effect that does additional damage, and it can also do a lot of other things. I would suggest, I definitely suggest this card. You know what? The House Aaron Bannerman cost 4, 2 threshold power. Other nearby allies gain +1 power. So again, see what I was talking about with this one. just straight up all mortals. This one is now, again, this is uncommon, so it makes sense. But nearby allies can. Now, I still think this is a strong ability. Nearby is better than adjacent, obviously. But with all the villages and stuff, you're gonna have a lot of 1/1s. This isn't a bad card for an uncommon. This is pretty good. I do think the cost is a little high, but honestly, it's appropriate. Alright, Queen of the Midlands. Cost 4, 2 threshold, 1 power. At the start of your turn, if this queen is in any of the 2 middle sites, draw a site or spell. Okay. This is a very good card. The hardest thing on this card is protect. Now, you do have some extra advantages. You got your villages, which are very good at protecting things around it. Gives you good blockers. You have cards like Great Wall, which I know. Also, I know I've said Great Wall a couple times. It's the Great Wall is a rare location that is Earth. Opponents' ground minions cannot enter the site. Extend this effect out to both sides of the site. So you pretty much can put up a wall if you put it in 14 and 12. You can create a barrier that's slow them down. She's really good. You just got to find a way to keep her alive. If you can keep her alive, an insane draw engine and insane value off of it. Frontier Settlers cost 3, 2 threshold, 1 power. When these settlers move, they may do so into the void. Placing the top site from your atlas there, once settled, they do not want to leave. Cheeky way of saying, once this ability triggers, this card gains immobile. Yeah, a decent way to get some extra sites into play. Now, the downside is it's a random site versus a site you get to choose because it's the top site. But honestly, not bad. I wish these had 2 power instead of the 1. I like the ability. I just don't think the ability is worth the cost of the card. Like, for 3, yeah, I mean, but because you don't get to choose the site, I really would feel more comfortable if this card cost 2. No, I don't think this card should cost 2. That's too low. I think this card is appropriate at 3. I think the power should be 2. Other than that, I'm still probably going to run them. They're just not going to be... They're just not very good defending. And they're not going to be able to attack very well. It's really going to have to get some play time. Stone Gaze Gorgon. 6, 3 threshold, 3 power. Other adjacent minions are petrified. First off, this art is sick. Second, this card is sick. It's a very strong card. If you watched the Earth versus... No, the Learn to Play or video, you'll see that Kennedy used these to great effect against me. Now, I did mess up with some airborne stuff. I could have played it a little bit better. That's part of learning the game. But these guys, super powerful. Thoroughly was impressed with these characters. Their ability is extremely strong, and they just wreak havoc. Very good card. Mountain Giant. 6, 3 threshold, 5 attack, 5 power. Iron Skin occupies 4 sites. So, you get clarification that occupying 4 sites, only one of them has to be there. So, if you had that, you could set this here. Even though it doesn't have Void Walk, it just has to be able to occupy 1 legal site. That also means, like, there are other sites that this may be interesting to play with. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of the occupy 4 site stuff. I think it's kind of gimmicky. We'll see. We'll see how this guy goes in the Phalanx. 3, 1 threshold, 5 attack. The Phalanx dies without dealing damage back if attacked from the flank or rear. So, from the sides or from behind. They can only attack on the same site and forward. Yeah. So, I mean, they're a cheap unit for high damage, but high risk. With, if they get hit from anywhere other than the front, they're dead. I don't especially think these are very good units. I would probably not play them. They are mortals. So in the humans deck, you may see 1 or 2 of these, especially in the beginning. But I don't think it's going to stay in the cut. Oh, Land Surveyor. I like this one. This one I like. Costs 3, threshold, 2 power. It is a mortal. Genesis. Draw a sight. This is going to be... But one of the problems with Earth is you want to play sites every turn. Because you want all the Genesis builds off of the sites. All your sites have great coming into play effects. So you want to play them. They're like mini spells. But if you're drawing sites, you're not drawing spellbook. And you need to be able to draw spellbook. So there's going to be turns where you don't get a play a site because you don't have one in hand. Well, stuff like Land Surveyor allows you to get some bodies into play and still be able to draw some lands. I like this card. It's a very good card. Okay, the Butcher. 4, 2 threshold, 5 attack. Immobile. You can tap. This Butcher hooks one of the closest minions in any cardinal direction, dragging it to its location. If it's an enemy, this Butcher attacks it. Yeah, this is a good card. It's great aerial denial. It's great. You know, you can hook airborne, and that allows you to attack some airborne. My one question is, could this hook somebody that's submerged or burrowed? Submerged and burrow said they can't be targeted, but this doesn't target. Butcher hooks one of the closest minions in any cardinal direction, dragging it location. Really not a target ability. That's more like I mean, I guess it could be considered target, but it would be interesting. I would like to know the ruling. If it can hit submerged or if it can, it's even more powerful. But as it is now, it's still very strong. Definitely want to play those. Oh, yeah, the Atlas Wanderer. 4 threshold, 3 attack power. Iron Skin. These wanderers can move to avoid carrying the site they are on and everything on it as they move. So this is a great way to rearrange your sites or start messing with your opponent's sites. Again, I like the idea of messing with opponent's sites because of the fact that a lot of people will have gameplay set up for how their sites are. Could be a fun card in a control style deck or a site control deck. Alright, Cave Trolls. 2 threat attack. Burrowing. Yeah, I mean, they are what they are. I don't mind them. They're a common minion. Unicorn. 3, 1 threshold, 4 attack. that's it. Honestly, I love the art on this one. I absolutely love the art. And yeah, it's a fine common. Um, Not much else to say on it. Same thing with the Amazon Warriors. Same concept. 5 for 6 attack. Now, and ordinary mythics. So, and not mortals. 1 for 2 beast. 3 for 2 attack, but has ranged 1 and is immortal. So you will definitely be seeing these in the human stack that we expect to see going up. Earthquake, cost 5, 2 threshold. Choose a square block of 4 locations, of which at least one of them is an earth site. For all ground minions on affected sites without water. You may rearrange the placement of those sites within the block. So, a couple things happen here. You pay 5, you choose 4 sites that are in a square pattern. You're going to kill all your opponent's ground minions, probably kill some of yours too, unless you're playing a burrowing deck. Because when they get burrowed, they're dead unless they have burrowing. The other thing is you get to rearrange the sites. That is a lot better than people are thinking. And again, might be in this weird kind of site rearranging archetype that we might see. Enrage. Cost 2, 1 threshold. Ally occupies 4 sites and gains +4 power until end of turn. So, the one thing I wish this had was quick. I like combat tricks. Unfortunately, this is not a combat trick. But 2 for 4 power is not bad. Also gives some extension on the character. Say the character's on a back site. Now he occupies 4 sites. You can have it occupy the 2 sites in front and 1 to the side, which does give him a little bit of range. Not a bad card. Good magic trick. Crater Eyes. Let's talk about Crater Eyes. This is another card that I expect to be very popular in the beginning, and will probably stay popular. Cost 8 for 2 threshold. Destroy a site without an avatar, and destroy everything on that site. So as long as the site does not have an avatar, it blows up the site and everything on it. Deal splash damage around the destroyed site. So you're going to deal 7 out, 4 nearby, then 2 and 1 adjacent to that. This is a good card because for a couple reasons. One, you can destroy one of your opponent's sites and kind of take out any kind of like fireball that they're building up if they're dumb enough to do that against Earth. If they're inexperienced enough to do that against Earth, you will definitely penalize them for playing in that style against Earth. If your opponent is playing Earth, I would not, especially if they're reaching towards 8 mana, I definitely would not group my units up. Beyond that, just land destruction in general is super strong. There's quite a bit of unique sites out there that can really cause a lot of problems. This is a good card, and it's going to be a good card, and people are going to play this card. It is an elite, so you can only have 2 of them in the deck. That is okay. Entangling Train for 2 threshold. Conjure at the intersection 2 sites. One must be Earth. Minions on the affected site lose airborne and are immobile. I mean, yeah, okay. It's not great, Well, it's not bad. Like, you can really mess with, like, the dragon and stuff, but dragon's still going to have instant splash. Like, it doesn't do damage, but it's decent. Okay. For an ordinary aura, not bad. Berry. Okay, I really like the card. This, in my opinion, 4 of in most Earth decks. Ordinary magic, cost 2, 1 threshold. Burrow a minion or relic on a site without water. If it does not have the burrowing keyword, it still survives but cannot unburrow. Yeah, this is really, really good. Like, really, really good. Great kill card here. Definitely going to be a staple. Spiridescent, cost 4. An elite relic. Means definitely will probably run 2. The bearer of the spear gains tap. Throw the spear in a cardinal direction. It continues to move until it reaches the edge of the realm or a site with minions. If it reaches a site with any minions, kill a minion of your choice there. Yeah. I mean, this is straight up kill card. Cost 4 to kill a minion. The only thing you have to do is set up some positioning. Perfectly okay. This is going to be a good card. Now, your opponent can see it and can kind of, avoid the hit. It's okay. If they're moving their minion around instead of attacking with him, generally pretty happy. Screaming Skull, cost 2. Any bearer of the skull can move, attack, or use tap abilities the same turn it is summoned. So, pretty much haste. So you pay 2 to give a minion haste. Because you're going to play your minion, then you're going to play the skull on that minion to bear the skull. So it's going to cost 2. So, for 2 additional, you're giving a minion haste. Is haste worth 2 mana? Maybe not. Is this card worth 2 mana because after the haste you can drop it? Well, I mean, I guess you can't. You can't drop it on the ground and then give it to the next unit you summon because they can't pick it up because they don't have haste. Honestly, I think this card's bad. Even if this card cost 1, I still think it would be bad. I think what it needs to have is some kind of additional effect, like a passive effect, like +1 power, or some kind of, sacrifice. Maybe, actually, I would like it to just literally say, discard a card from hand, return this card to your hand. There you go. That way you can use it more than once. But at 2 costs, it's still bad. Siege Ballista. Cost 3. Exceptional Relic. Tap. Then tap an allied minion here. The Ballista deals 3 range combat to an avatar or minion up to 2 steps away in a cardinal direction. Which means you can't do L shape. It has to be straight lines. The Ballista cannot be picked up, but an avatar or minion may carry it as it moves. The Ballista is actually really good with the villages. Allows you to tap down that creature plus the Ballista to get 3 range damage out. Other than that, there's not a lot of creatures I would like to tap to fire this with. Most of the time, the other minions are just going to be a better choice to use minions. So, we'll see on that. Alright guys, thank you for watching the breakdown-ish of this. Hopefully we really got to look at what this Precon offers and what the future may hold for Earth. I think Earth is definitely going to be moving towards the human aspect in the beginning. I expect that you will see Earth control decks later, but I don't expect that we'll see early. Which means the King of the Realm is going to be a very sought after card. So if you pull some in your Kickstarter boxes, hang on to them. I think you'd be surprised at how well he does, especially as more portals come out. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.